Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Eclectic Knitter podcast. My name, of course, I'm just going to is Raylene. You can find show notes for this episode, as always, at theeclecticknitter.com. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Kamana Knits. Episodes are posted to YouTube only now. There was just nobody watching on iTunes as far as I could tell. So I'm not going to be uploading to iTunes anymore. If it does eventually become something that's requested, I will gladly go back to it. It's just not worth the extra time right now. So, if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back and watching again. If you're a new viewer, I hope you stick around. I am trying to stick to a once a week recording schedule, and I had forgotten how little I feel that I've worked on when I do once a week. At least recently. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, we're hoping to keep this pretty steady. I'm trying a little bit closer zoom today with the same background as last time. And I actually have a shirt over my light to diffuse the light a little bit, which seems to be working okay. So anyway, yeah, we're on YouTube, The Eclectic Knitter. If you like the video, please like it down below, and subscribe if you like it to keep up to date on whenever I record. This week there are no finished objects of any kind. There's whips, knitting whips, and a little bit of stash enhancement from my local yarn store. So let's get right into it, shall we? Whips in my Fat Squirrel Fiber project bag. I have two pin buttons on here that I stuck on here. They're from the Down Sheepy Lane, Down Sheepy Way, her Stephen King club that she has. So I have the Green Mile and I have the Shining. I got another one, but I don't remember the pin for it. So there's that. In here are I have a hoe. So this is the hoe. This is out of Vesper, or Knitterly Things Vesper sock. This is their January 2018 Rainbow Club colorway. This is called Paint Box. This is my first smooth, spacious OMG heel. Which is a lot like doing a heel flap and gusset, but then the gusset's really different from a traditional one. So it doesn't interrupt the stripe pattern on the front. So I'm finished the first sock, and I am this far on the second one. Once I get to the second, between the second blue and green stripe here, that's where I put in the heel, and so I'm almost there. Knitterly, the Vesper thick sock is one of the options. It's a 75. I have the tag here. So that is the tag from the yarn. You can see it is a 75-25 superwash merino nylon, and it is my favorite base from them. It's really thicker than a regular fingering weight. So these I actually knit, or this base I actually knit on a slightly larger needle. So instead of my usual 1.0 US 1.0, which is a 2.25 millimeter, I knit these on a 1.5 US, which is a 2.5 millimeter, and then I do 56 stitches instead of 64, which is another reason why I like this base, because 56 stitches goes super quick, which is probably why I finished a sock in like 2 days. Not that that's unusual for me, but you know, I need every little excuse I can get. I have tried this on. I went for the spacious OMG heel because I have a really high arch, and on the Fish Lips Kiss heel, the instep tends to be like stretched out like that, which kind of bothers me. Not because it doesn't fit or anything, I just feel like it doesn't maybe look the best and could potentially Not that I get a lot of wear on the top instep, but I just feel like it makes my socks look like they don't fit. So I tried this instead of, well, usually on stuff striping I do an afterthought heel, so I tried this instead because I do like with Fish Lips Kiss heel, which I did in the Hush socks that I finished last week, that once you're done the sock, you're done. You don't have to go back and do the heels. Sometimes I find it, sorry, I'm still getting over a cold. Sometimes I find it difficult to go back then later on and do the heel, and I end up like having a sock. Well, I don't do them till both socks are done, but I end up having a pair of socks that need heels, and sometimes those have sat for like a month or two before I've done the heel. So I was just trying this out. So far I haven't found it any different from a Fish Lips Kiss, maybe even a little bit worse, and definitely not, because an afterthought heel you can kind of knit more rounds plain before you actually start the decreases, which then makes your instep a little bit deeper. So that's my thought right now on that. But I'll finish both of them and wear them, and maybe I'll like it. Maybe I won't. We'll see. I haven't tried a new heel since I tried the Fish Lips Kiss heel. And so I do Fish Lips Kiss heel on everything that's non-self-striping, and I do afterthought heel on everything that is. So I figured it was about time that I just try out a different sock for funsies. I don't know. It's super easy though, so that's good. Living in my other Fat Squirrel fiber bag is my Branches and Buds pullover by Carrie Bostic Hodge. I am knitting this out of Wisconsin, Barrett Wool's Wisconsin Woolen Spun Sport in the Quaker Gray, which is my main color. And this, I purchased a kit from them. This wasn't labeled, but I believe it is the birch colorway. It's just a natural. And this is the Quaker Gray. This is a non-superwash American, 100% American wool, non-superwash. And I am almost done the color work. Yay! So you start, it's a top-down yoked colorwork cardigan. I am halfway done the last repeat of chart A, which is this chart here. And then that's chart B. And then you repeat chart A a second time. As you can see, I have done this middle line down here, and I am one row past that. I am knitting this on, I am knitting this and it is coming off my needles, which is maybe not as much, it's kind of anti what I want. So yeah, I am knitting this on one size smaller. I'm knitting the body here on US 4, so that's a 3.5 millimeter needle. That is one size smaller than what the pattern calls for. I did a gauge swatch in the 5s, and I was getting 21 stitches per 4 inches, and you need to get 24 stitches per 4 inches, so I went down needle size. This is my first ever colorwork sweater that I will be knitting. I really like this yarn. It's very, very nice. I have some of it in the worsted weight for sweaters as well, so I'm excited about working with that. I'm doing the 61 and 3/4 inch size. I'm going to have lots of the birch left over. Like I said, I only have 3 more colorwork rows to go, and I've got like this much left. Which is fine. And I'm almost done the colorwork section of the yoke, and it feels like I haven't used out of this at all. So once the yoke is done, then I'm going to do the sleeves. Well, I'm going to knit like maybe an inch past where you split off. I'm going to knit the sleeves to the length that I want, and then I'm going to knit the body, because the body in the original pattern is only 11.5 or 11.75 inches past the armholes. In the pattern as written, I said that already, right? And I want it longer probably. I guess it depends on how far underneath the armpits the yoke goes down. Either way, I will probably want it longer, and I want to make sure that I have enough yarn for it. Now, the couple people who have finished this sweater using a kit that they bought, which are now sold out. I bought this like last fall or last summer. Have all had quite a bit of the main color yarn left over. So I'm hoping that is the case with this. That's why I'm doing the sleeves first before I finish the body, so that I can then knit the body as long as I want to without having to worry about keeping yarn aside for sleeves. So I'm excited about that. You guys can see my floats. It doesn't bother me any. I feel like I'm doing okay on this for floats, but maybe I'm not. I don't know. So yeah, I think it's gonna really. I'm losing my center of my beginning of round marker. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sorry. I hope it evens out a lot with blocking, because right now it's kind of lumpily bumpily, which I kind of expected. I'm hoping it evens out so that where it looks nice, but I haven't done a whole lot of color work, you guys. I've mentioned that before. My first color work was a pair of fingerless mitts that I did out of Tosh sock in Ginger and Well Water, I believe. And Tosh sock, for those of you who aren't aware, is a fingering weight. It's Madeline Tosh sock. It's a high twist 2-ply. It's a superwash, 100% superwash merino. And I did the magic loop, and I always find that when I do things with a small circumference in color work, I really struggle with the floats around the edges. Plus, the pattern I did, I don't remember the name of it. Maybe I can find it quickly on my project page while I talk about it. It had some areas that had really, really long floats, and that was my first color work project. So superwash wool, which isn't super grabby, it's super slippery, in fact. Really long floats. Yeah, Glazed Pecan. It's the Fingerless Gloves Musica by Anne Newman. That was my first ever color work project. 7+ stitches. I actually made notes. June 1st. Might not have been a good choice for stranded color work. There's some super long floats, like 7+ stitches. I've got some puckering because I don't think I'm tensioning right. Tension is still, yeah. There's a picture there of where I'm magic looping, how it really puckers there, that my floats are way too tight. And I can't remember the last time I wore those. I still have them. Should have brought them out if I was talking about color work, but I didn't think of that now, did I? No, I did not. All right. I don't know if I did any color work after that. Did I do any color work after that? Now would be a good time to take a look. It doesn't look like it. I did some striping stuff. I did a clockwork by Stephen West. I did a lot of pattern socks I started doing. Again, stripe chevron thing. Yeah, that's been like the only color work that I've really done. I did some intarsia for a test knit one time. My first time doing intarsia, test knit. Good job. Otherwise, it's all been like striping when I've done more than one color. So this is, I started the Bedale hat, and I figured that maybe a hat would be a better way to be introduced back into color work. And I'm using a non-superwash wool. I'm using Holtz Garn. They're fingering, super soft, whatever. I haven't worked on the project since we last spoke. And then apparently the way to get out of my knitting guilt was to cast on a sweater. But now the sweater and the new pair of socks is all I've worked on this week. So I haven't touched my Aquina, I haven't touched my Leaves of Grass, I haven't touched any of the blank, I haven't touched anything but this and the sock. That's all I've knit on in the last week. Apparently, if I don't knit on what I truly want to knit on, which in this case was a sweater, I don't knit much at all, or don't want to knit anything, which is really bad because I really do need to get that Aquina done. By the time I get it to him, it's going to be spring again, and then he'll have another winter where he can't wear it, but he has gloves and a toque anyway. So yeah, I am really enjoying that. I'm hoping to do some more colorwork sweaters. I have some more Holtz yarn that I want to use for colorwork sweaters. I really liked that this came in a kit. Because I don't really know how to do the color matching work in order to get something that looks decent. I mean, the Bedale was relatively easy. It was 2 colors, and I'm sure I could have put this together myself. Gray, light, a kind of lighter gray and a natural, fine. But I still like that it came in a kit because this isn't a full skein of that birch, and I won't even use all of it. So at least then I know that I don't have like almost a full skein left. I still have a bit. So yeah, that I am really enjoying. Holtz yarn, I bought a bunch of different colors, and when I started working with them, I was gonna do a Threepmere by Isolde, which is a fingering weight bottom up. I believe it's bottom up yoked colorwork sweater. When I started playing around with colors for that, because one of the things I bought was a cone of one of their mid dark grays, which is well enough for like 2 sweaters worth probably, and then with contrasting colors. As I was taking pictures of possible color combinations and turning the picture black and white, I was noticing that there wasn't a lot of color value variation between the colors that I had bought. So that was what it was. So yeah, especially when working with like a dark body color, maybe that was my issue. You only need 2 contrast colors though. So like a mid-tone and then a light should have been, sorry, I'm just, but anyway. So yeah, that's a thing. It's all good things. Like I said, I'm still working on the same spinning that I was last week. I've been working on those Rolags by Fellview Fibers in the Skiddaw Snows colorway. I have 1.5 left to do. I'm in the middle of one right now. That's why I didn't pull off the bobbin to show. There's not really a whole lot of difference. It's just like white with a bit of gray. So once that second bobbin's done, I'm going to then do a 2-ply. And I still have the Happy Thank You 1 bobbin of singles sitting there. So nothing's new there. So I have some stash enhancement. Last week I went to an appointment really early in the morning. I had to be there for 9, and it was downtown with paid parking. So I was there at like 8:45. Found parking, paid for it. I'm not a morning person. My sleep schedule's been wacky. So I only got about 2 hours of sleep, if even. So anyway, I got there, I did the thing, it took an hour, and then I decided to go to my local yarn store and look around and say what a good job I did for going to the appointment and getting up early and, that kind of stuff. And so my local yarn store opens at 10, and I got there shortly after 10, and I got 2 skeins of yarn. I got an opal. This is Aubin Tenure Regenwald Die Schatzsucher. So it looks like that. And then my local yarn shop has hedgehog fibers. So I got a skein of their Merino DK in the Fly colorway. And I already know exactly what I'm going to use for this. The opal, of course, is going to be socks. This is going to be paired with, I still have leftovers of Madeline Tosh DK. No. Oh, no, yeah, it is Tosh DK because it's not Merino DK. It's not the single ply. It is, and it's not DK Twist. So it's Madeline Tosh DK in the Victorian Gothic colorway, which I used to make an anchor sweater by Cecilia Glowick MacDonald. That was like one of the first sweaters that I made. And I still have almost 2 full skeins of that left, and I've used it for all kinds of stuff. I'm going to use that with this and do some kind of brioche hat, I think. I think this will look really nice as like, I think the Victorian Gothic will be a really nice backdrop again with this, because this is the speckly and that's kind of a tonal dark gray. So that's what I'm going to do with this, and the opal, of course, socks. So those 2 skeins I got. It's really nice. Okay, I could have gotten opal in Saskatoon. I really could have. My local yarn store, at least the independently owned, like outside of like Michael's, is called Wolseley Wool. It's on, not Waverly. It's on a street close to the Misericordia Hospital in a really old area of the city that has a lot of really big trees and really beautiful old houses that were like 100 years old. And it actually used to be in a really old house at a corner, and it was just on the main floor, and then they moved. And now they're in a much bigger space, which is really nice. There was another yarn store in Winnipeg. It was called Ram's Wool. It was a co-op. And that one was on Pembina when I last went to it. And then they had moved, I think, to Ellis. But they actually closed in November of last year. Apparently, whoever purchased the co-op from the original owners when they wanted to retire, I think, the store, the company as a whole had a lot of debt and they just weren't able to crawl out of it. They are planning on offering yarn classes and retreats and doing that kind of stuff, but they don't have an actual brick and mortar store anymore. So Wolseley Wool in Winnipeg is the last independently owned yarn store, and so I do make all attempts to shop there when I can. They have Barocco. Do they? They might just have Cascade. And they have Rowan. They have some Malabrigo. They used to have more Malabrigo. They have Manos del Uruguay. When I first started going there, when they were still in the little house, they had Sweet Georgia. That was the first time I got introduced to Sweet Georgia. They had Madeline Tosh when I came to visit one time. I was super pumped about that. You guys know how I love Madeline Tosh. The last time I visited, they did have Hedgehog. They also have Woolmiza right now in lace and fingering, pure and twin. And then they have some stuff. They had Ancient Arts as well for a while, but I didn't see any when I went there now. Their Hedgehog looked like it had been replenished, or maybe I didn't see that they had the Merino DK last time I was there, but I may not have looked that much. So they tend to they have their basics that they have like all the time, and then they tend to switch it up. They also have spinning fiber. They have Hedgehog Yarns fiber. It's all superwash merino nylon. I actually bought a bag. It's somewhere over there. And they have some other fiber, so I could buy fiber locally. Anyway, They sell Chiagoo and Knitter's Pride knitting needles, which aren't my favorite, but if in a pinch, I can go get them there. The independently dyed or the more fancier yarns, they tend to switch up a lot. Like I haven't seen Sweet Georgia there in probably 6 or 7 years. I haven't seen Madeline Tosh there since that one time that I saw it. I've never seen Woolmiza until recently. I've never seen Hedgehog Fibers until the last year. And I talked to them about it, and they're like, yeah, we'd like to switch it up, blah blah blah, and that's fine. I don't care. I don't mind. I'm hoping I'm maybe gonna see if they can try to get Leading Men Fiber Arts in. That would be cool. But yeah, that's my local yarn store. They're really nice. They do have knit nights, but I have not gone yet. So yeah, I think that is the episode. Thank you again so much for watching. I really appreciate everyone that comes and visits. If you like it, give it a thumbs up or click and click subscribe. Yeah, I hope you guys all enjoy what you're working on, and I will talk to you hopefully in about a week. Bye.